Fierce ladies, welcome to the Moms in Real Estate podcast, where we unleash our unapologetic power to share the raw truth of our journeys. Brace yourself for a dose of empowerment, education, and encouragement like never before. I'm Christin, a relentless entrepreneur obsessed with connecting and uplifting fellow boss babes. In this podcast, we're all about getting down to business, conquering motherhood, nurturing relationships, and so much more. Get ready to dive into the nitty-gritty, embrace the hustle, and unravel the secrets of success in the world of real estate. We're here to ignite your fire, equip you with the knowledge, and unleash your limitless potential. Tune in as we redefine what it means to be a true boss babe. Today's guest is Christin Kingsbury out of Prescott, Arizona, and I just love her story because it's got this like rich dad, poor dad feel to it. And we're going to dive into why she's so passionate about investing, why her life kind of led her that way, and then we're actually going to talk about her writing her first book, which is called The Family Banking Blueprint. I cannot wait for you guys to meet her. Let's get started. Hi, Christin.
Hi, Christin. How are you?
I am really good because you're sitting right next to me, and I'm so excited to bring you guys her because she and I go back years, and she actually spoke at a stage of mine and has just the most amazing story, and I want you to be able to share it with our community.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor to. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so why don't you get started with just giving the audience a little bit of your background and like why you got into real estate?
I got into real estate by accident. Truthfully, it was the last thing I ever wanted to do because I had a grandmother that ran a real estate brokerage and I saw her work all the time, never got the day off. And I thought, man, that lady works all the time. I never want to have a job like that. And so, it seemed like Christmas she was working, Thanksgiving she was working. She was, always me in tow. And I thought those people work too hard. I don't want that job. Yeah. And so I attempted to get a college education in anything else. I was going to school. Actually, I wanted to be the game warden. I wanted to be camping and I wanted to be out in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
So I was going to school to be the game warden and I was investing in real estate and I bought a house in Lake Havasu and I got there and I went to transfer my credits to their branch of NAU and they said, oh no, you could be a teacher or you can be a nurse. And I was like, I don't want to work in a hospital. And I hated school, but I guess I'm going to be a teacher. So I finished my education degree. And for anybody who's a teacher, you go into that industry and you're like, this is really cool. I love the children and I can't make a living. And so making no money, I was like, well, what else do you know how to do? And the only other thing I knew to do was sell real estate. So that was a short stint of teaching. And I got into real estate and ended up taking over a team, not wanting a team either. Like all the things, a lot of times it's just a necessity. Necessity. So, okay, I'll do it. Saying yes, I guess.
What are you saying yes to right now that you don't want to?
Probably more things than I'd like to admit. No, I'm actually trying to say yes to more things because I got kind of in a season of no, got to stay focused. No. And I'm kind of in this moment of like, I want to be creative and I want to collaborate and I want to have fun. And I'm saying yes to things again that I kind of was in a journey of no for a while.
I think sometimes we can be stuck in this negative environment. We don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And it is it's normal to just be like, no. And then when you do say, it's like that movie, the Yes movie. What is it with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
And he just has the best time. And you're like, okay, more opportunities.
It's true. Like I noticed my attitude. I'm like, where's that person that is fun and bubbly and brings all the energy? And I'm like, quit saying no to things. Go say yes.
Yeah. And the great news is she can come back anytime.
Yeah, that's fun.
So let's talk more about your grandma.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the impact that she's left in your life.
You know what? She is an incredible force of nature. What a blessing she has been. She turns 99 next month.
Wow.
My entire life, I saw her just travel and really live whatever life she wanted. And there was never a limitation. I just never saw her have a boundary or be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And my entire life, if she was home for 2 weeks, I was like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? Because she was always in another country. She was always, traveling, camping, doing just anything. She didn't sit still well. And that was fun for us as kids because having her as grandma, she took me on all my first camping trips, and we would go rock hunting, and she was like little Miss Social Butterfly, which realtors are, and so she always had a network of friends around, and she was always trading houses, and we would go to different countries on house trades that didn't cost her any money.
That's cool.
There was never an excuse if she wanted to do something. Like there was never, oh, we don't have money. She would trade or, find a way. And so, at 99, to be honest, she still does a little bit of that. She's slowed down a bit finally in the last year or so. She started to slow down a little bit. But even up until a year ago, she spent 6 weeks in India last year at my cousin's wedding.
At 98.
Yeah. I'm like, you cannot go at 98 on a plane for that. And she's like, she told me, Christin, I'm going to live until I die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I know that about you. You will. And it drives us nuts sometimes because we're always worried about her. But no doubt she's lived an incredible life.
Look, everyone's been worried about her whole life. And here she is almost 100. She's like, guys, I got this.
Yeah. She's like, and she just doesn't have any fear, which is fun. It's made for some fun adventures as I've gotten to grow up with her alongside.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about like your investment journey.
When I was a kid, my mom worked her butt off, more hours than anybody on the planet for less pay, and she just always struggled, and she always like loved and showed up as a mom to the best of her ability, but financially I don't even remember if she's ever been on a real vacation, even to this day. She just struggled. And then I saw grandma, and grandma was like adventure, like, let's go do things, let's go live. And, I looked at the two of them and I'm like, what in the world is the difference? Like these two ladies are both mine.
Yeah.
And why are they so different? What's the difference? And
they're both from the same, like, doesn't your mom look at your grandma?
Yes, my mom is not my grandma's though. My dad is my grandma's.
Oh, yes.
However, my grandmother like basically took her under her wing and raised her also.
Okay.
And so yes, like she had the same opportunity to learn all the things that I was learning. I think she just had a fear and a lack of confidence. My grandmother, on the other hand, was just like, if I want it, I'm going to go get it. And that was just the woman that she's always been. And so watching the two of them, I'm like, what is the difference? And one of the major differences was my mom traded time for money, and my grandmother made her money work for her.
Yeah.
And so when I started seeing like, wait a second, you own that house and that house pays you and you don't even have to show up and clock in and clock out. I'm like, this is kind of fun. And so when I was a kid, when I was 13, my grandfather died, and my family had bought a cattle ranch. And I asked my grandmother, why did you buy a cattle ranch? We're not cattle ranchers. But she's like, oh, your grandpa always wanted to be a cowboy, so we just bought a cattle ranch because, And so when he passed away, we had this cattle ranch, and he left, like, I think it was like 2 or 5 acres or something to me when he passed away. And I sold it when I turned like 18 or 19, I sold it and had $10,000 from it. And I was like, my brother and my cousin both had the same opportunity, and they went and bought dirt bikes and went to Vegas. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make my money make money.
This is my way.
So that literal first opportunity for me to invest my money, I moved to Lake Havasu because I needed to get away from the kids that I grew up with. Growing up in a small town, you become a little rowdy, and like some self-reflection. I'm like, I need to get out of here. So went to Lake Havasu, and it was when Countrywide was giving loans to anybody who would write their name. And I was a kid with no job in college, and they gave me a loan for a brand new build house because I had $10,000 in my pocket. Yeah. And so they built me a brand new house, and I got to move into this gorgeous house. And I thought, I don't have a job. How am I going to pay for this? So I moved some roommates in. They paid my mortgage. I went through college and finished college. And then we sold that house, and I made like $150,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love real estate. And so it was kind of the bug that like got me, because I knew that was a thing my whole life. I watched it. But when it actually happened and it worked, I was like, I can't work enough hours to duplicate that. And so from there on out, I was like, okay, what else can I buy? But I didn't have any money. I mean, we went and we bought So one of the roommates is now my husband, was my boyfriend at the time. But we moved to Prescott and bought a home there. And we went looking for like, what can we afford? What can we fix and change and make more desirable to people? And we had heard sell it every 2 years, and we'd sat in on every real estate conference that we could get our hands on and that kind of thing. So we just started buying and selling every 2 years and just finding a way to improve the property and make it more desirable to people. And so did that a couple of times, depending on the market. You know, sometimes we were flipping homes, sometimes we were building new builds, or sometimes I was developing land and putting manufactured homes. And, you know, I think the biggest aha to me was like, there was times when I didn't have any money and somebody would say, just come take over payments. So it really wasn't about the money that I had in my pocket because I didn't have any. It was about the relationships and the trust that I had built with people, and they wanted me to win, and they would find opportunities and literally find ways to make them possible for me. And so that was eye-opening because I stopped thinking I have to have money to do this. I really just had to have relationships and trust and integrity and work ethic. And so did a lot of projects over the years with friends who had money when I didn't. And it turned into, right now, I think we have 22 doors, and I manage all of them myself. Call me crazy.
Crazy.
But, yeah. But I mean, it's been a fun journey, and it's been, you know, I was telling somebody the other day, they said, I don't want to invest because I don't want to lose. And I'm like, well, here's the thing about investing. You won't win every single time. Mm-hmm. You just got to win a lot more than you lose.
Yeah.
And that's been, there have been times where I still laugh at this. I gave a house away that I owned for free to my title agent because she needed a place for her kid to live, and I didn't want to own the rental anymore. Mm-hmm. And she turned around and sold it for like 120 or 130 grand. And I'm like, oh man,
that's crazy.
But what a blessing. How cool that she got to do that. But so like, even that one that I literally gave away for free because I did not want to own it anymore. It was getting old. It was falling apart. I didn't want the trouble of it. It paid me, I don't know, $1,000, $900 to $1,000 a month for I had $3,000 into that property, and I owned it for probably 10 years. And so, I mean, even that was not a loss.
Yeah.
You know,
total win.
Yeah. And now I wish I could find if you know any $3,000 properties that I could put $3,000 down on. But it just really taught me that I didn't have to have money to do this.
I hear that from so many people in the investment space. I think there's a lot of interesting people in the investing space. But I have found so many great people through it. And they all say the same thing. It's about the relationships, and like, you don't have to have the money. You just have to be able to put yourself out there and have that reputation that you had. And I think that's so good for people to hear that are listening that might be like, I am scared of that space. Because I know so many agents are terrified of the investment space. And even if a client comes to them and is like, hey, I want you to help me find my first investment property, they're like, I don't know how to do that. A lot of them don't have their own investment property, so it's terrifying. So I see a lot of them at the investment workshops and stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And I don't know why our industry doesn't teach a ton of it.
You know, it's crazy. My husband said to me the other day, I'm going to go hire a realtor who has time to find me investments. And I said, go ahead. Good luck finding one. Yeah. And he goes, that's my problem. You're the one who finds them. And if you don't have time to go hunting for me, like together, because there has been years where we got super busy and didn't invest to the point that we could have because we were busy working and busy doing other things. And so, but jokingly, he's like, why don't realtors know how to find investment properties? I'm like, I honestly don't know, but I kind of cheated the system because I grew up with a grandmother who was always looking at things from a different perspective. And so I naturally like see opportunities everywhere.
Yeah. Well, nowadays I do feel like there is a lot of opportunities outside of your brokerage where you can pay to go to panels and workshops and seminars and whatever. But I mean, when I first started in real estate, there wasn't a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it has changed, and there's a lot of smart people all over the place where it used to kind of, before the internet and all of the kind of reach that I guess the internet had. You had to kind of go to one place to get any kind of education. So now it seems to be everywhere. The scary part is you don't know what is valid and what is safe versus what is just somebody trying to sell you some crazy
and
idea.
Who's teaching. Yes. I'm so passionate about bringing in like the good people.
Yes. It's
like the good to their core, not just good at what they do. Because there is definitely some people that are good at investing, but they have some kind of shady business going on in their mind, you know?
I went to I won't say the name of the training, but my husband and I went to a training down here one time, and I literally stood up in the room and I'm like, you cannot tell these people to do that. Like, you're not telling them the whole story, and this is so dangerous. You're going to harm somebody.
Yeah.
And he was like, sit down and shut up. Like,
you're like, I'm going to actually get up and leave.
But it was so scary. They were only giving a piece of the whole story. And if people didn't know that there was more to it, they were going to go take action on what this guy was saying and put themselves in a world of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And so that, I think, is what kind of gave me the desire to go and teach this stuff. Is like, I'm super conservative about this. I don't get myself in crazy debt. I don't leverage the farm, you know, that kind of thing. And when I was watching these training classes and stuff, I was constantly concerned with, are people going to be okay if they walk out of there? Are they going to be safe with the amount of information that was given to them? Is somebody going to be protecting them along the way? Because you can know just a little bit and be really dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you a quick story. So this is back in 2018. I was washing my hands. My family's in the car ready to go up to Pine Top. We're going to go to the cabin for the weekend. And I'm washing my hands and I take my wedding ring off and I leave it on the ledge. I leave and I get in the car. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my wedding ring. And I was like, I'll just get it when we get home. It'll be fine. I get home, it's nowhere, right? So I make a claim and I get a check in the mail for $13,000. And I got it and I was like, oh, I really don't need a wedding ring. Like I really want to get a cabin so we can Airbnb it and like go up there. Yeah. And it's literally how I bought my Airbnb.
That's the best.
And I ended up getting a wedding ring, but I was legit like, hey babe, like we're married. Like I could care less about a ring.
Yeah.
And he was like cracking up. And so now we've had an Airbnb and thankfully we bought it in 2018, but everyone and their mom decided to go buy a cabin and have the same thing. But it's been such a blessing. So I was
smart.
laughing when you got
$10,000
too. And I was basically, I'm like, wait, what am I going to do with this? This is like just an extra $13,000 that I wasn't expecting.
Well, and it's just a different way of looking at money too, because to your point, I remember my husband like, oh, let's get married. I'm going to go to a jewelry store and finance your ring. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to go like wholesale and buy that thing. Like you're not spending money on that because we need to buy real estate. Like that's way more important than the ring on my finger. And so that was a whole learning curve for him. He's like, hey, wait, what? Like, but I was like, our future, like, let's go spend money on things that make us money. Let's not spend money on depreciating assets. And like, still he laughs at me. Like, I won't even tell you that I have a piece of duct tape on my car right now because I don't even like, can I go buy a new one? I don't want to spend the money on a new one. The dang thing is, I have a Tahoe that's nice, but the leather is ripping and I went Prescott on it and put a piece of duct tape on it. But the truth is I'm like, I can go buy a new car, but why would I? I'd rather buy another house. Like, totally. And so it's just a different way of looking at money and saying, let me spend money on things that make me money instead of depreciating assets.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about like your newest thing. So you're saying yes to things. Is this because you were saying yes to things?
Maybe. Well, so back to my grandmother being old. When COVID happened, this actually has been a really long journey that I had no idea I was going to take. And I just was like, okay, I'm just going to say yes and do like open whatever door is in front of me. But when COVID happened, my grandmother was late 90s and I was like, oh no, this woman has traveled every day of my entire life. And now they're going to lock her down and not let her travel. So I was like, I have to think of like something to give her purpose, to get her excited about waking up every day and doing something. And so I started talking to her. I had been in a master class that I had paid a fortune to be in with a bunch of people making a lot more money than me. And when I went there, my good friend and mentor pulled me up on the stage and he's like, tell them what you did last week. And I was like, oh my Lord, I just put $15,000 down on a condo none of you would ever walk in, because like these guys are all making lots and lots of money. And I'm like, I don't make nearly as much money as they do. And he went through every single investment that I had ever made. And I was totally like humiliated, thinking like I was going to be a fly on the wall of all these really smart people doing really big things. And what was a big aha to me is I went to walk out of that room that day and they're like, can I have your phone number? Can you teach me how to do that? And these are all realtors that make a mad amount of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second, what? And they're like, we know how to sell real estate. We built big businesses. We don't own investment properties. We never did that for ourselves. Yeah. And we didn't know it was so easy and that you could do it with so little. And so it was like this light bulb went off, like, oh my gosh, I just was doing it. I didn't know I had a skill that I just assumed everybody in the room knew it way better than I did because they're super smart people. And so anyway, I went to my grandmother and I'm like, there's people who need to know what you know. Like, I just took it for granted that I grew up with you and that she was always creatively financing things. We always had a paintbrush in hand and ripping carpet out of houses and different things as she was flipping them herself and things like that. But I was like, why don't we put it into a book? And she's like, you want to write a book? What did I teach you? And she still to this day thinks she taught me nothing. But I started sending her chapters like, okay, here's an idea. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about mindset around money. We're going to talk about creating a plan. We're going to talk about like because we overcomplicate it and then we don't take action. And there's all these people who run awesome businesses. And I would go to these conferences and some of them just doing awesome work for communities. I went to this conference in Colorado and there was these guys who had given their lives to show up for like childhood suicide and like drug abuse. But every single one of them said, we want this to be our mission. We bought the van. We're ready to tour the country. We've been doing this, but we don't have anybody to fund it. And I'm like, yikes, like you have such a good mission and you have to stop your mission because you didn't learn how to make your money make money for you. You have to trade your time for money. And so those two instances, I was like, we got to go teach people what she taught me. And so chapter after chapter, I would send her a topic. She would write her stories about it. I would write my stories about it. And then trying to put it together, I'm like, oh, I didn't anticipate, like we have completely different stories. How do we put these together? And so in that journey through COVID, I had gotten into this. We built this clubhouse room that turned in. It was called Breakfast with Champions.
Clubhouse.
Yeah,
such a thing for a hot second.
I know, it was super fun.
I loved it.
It was super fun, and we built this big community called Breakfast with Champions.
Yeah.
And so I had met a gal in there that was a book publisher, and she's like, hey, that book that you and your grandmother wrote, like, you're not just going to shelf that thing. Like, come here, we're going to put this into a book. And I'm like, okay. And so anyway, it's been this journey of putting it all together. And now, like, I had no idea so much went into book writing. I don't know that I would do it twice. Like it's maddening. Some of the just detail stuff that I'm like, I feel like I'm back in 6th grade when the English teacher's redlining your paper.
Oh, yeah.
But
could not imagine.
But we got it all out of our heads. I hope that it's something, it seems to be a fun thing to bring to people. I hope that it makes a difference and that, it's really just raw and real. Like you can go do this today yourself. You don't have to be, we're no geniuses. Like we probably just didn't know that we could fail. And so we just tried. And so
I love
hopefully
that.
It inspires some people to do that.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to inspire tons of people. What's it called?
It's called the Family Banking Blueprint. And the reason that I called it that was one of the things she didn't realize she had taught me is she had funded all these adventures with this bank account that she had built from these investment properties. And so if we turned 16 and we needed money to buy a car rather than go to a bank or rather than, find financing somewhere else or through the auto dealership, we would finance through the family bank. And they would charge us interest and it would replenish the family bank. And so there was this whole bank that was built that allowed us to go to college and allowed us to travel and do all of these things. She doesn't realize there was a family bank that was built until I kind of put it in and I'm like, we had a bank. Like that was kind of how you formulated that and put it together so that it was self-funding. And there were rules and there was a whole little board that would approve or disapprove of whether you got to borrow from it. And if you bought assets that generated money, then there was different rules. And so anyway, we put it together into the Family Banking Blueprint so that we can teach people how to fund their own family and all their adventures and weddings and things like that.
I think that's so cool. I love it. And I really do think you're going to impact so many people. It's funny, because you're saying this, you're like,
I didn't know people don't know this. And I think that there's such a thing to be said. And I feel I was going through making my coaching program about building communities. And I literally was talking to my therapist about this. And like, I just feel like it's like kind of stupid. Like
everybody knows. You
yeah,
think
like everybody
knows
knows this. And she's like, no. And that's when you know, like you're in the right spot. And I really like feel like that for you. Like you probably feel like that, but it is like, and just coming from the other side, like I've literally like made it my mission the last few years to have, I'm just working on like my money mindset. The fact that I have an investment property is crazy because I have such a bad, like I associate more money with more problems because I have a whole story about it. Yeah. And so a lot of people have that and it completely can cripple them. They can be successful in all these other ways, but they just don't even want to log into their bank account. And so coming from the other side, like you sharing your story and like, although it's annoying writing the book, like you're going to get it out. And even if it's one person that you can really help, I think it's so powerful.
It's crazy too, because what I've been bumping into, which I didn't anticipate, you know, when you start down that journey of like, oh, I know this thing that other people don't know, and then you start pulling it out of yourself. What has come out of it is lots of women have no idea what's going on in their bank accounts, what's going on in their finances as far as like their husbands take care of everything.
So many women.
And it puts them in a really scary situation. If anything happens to their spouse, they got no clue what's going on. If, you know, like, and it puts a pressure on their marriage where their spouse has to make sure that they're handling all the finances at a high, like that's, but I'm finding that oftentimes marriage and finance is not a partnership. Like one person knows all the things and the other person doesn't, and it leaves the other person very vulnerable. And so that's been something interesting that I keep bumping into. And one of the most rewarding, fun things is when they both come to me and they're like, hey, help us be partners. Like we've done this one-sided, but we don't want to be that way. We just, that's how it naturally occurred.
They just don't know any other way.
Yeah.
My sister, her husband just got access. They've been married since they were 18. And so he just got access to the bank account, and she's like, I don't even know. Like him being in there freaks me out.
Yeah.
Not because he's gonna. She's just like, he's gonna nitpick me on every little thing. And I was cracking up. I'm like, he didn't even know how to log in before, and I'm like, that is so funny. You know, you've been married for 25 years, and he never even knew how to log in the bank account. And then also, I was at this. My friend, she runs a group. She doesn't do it anymore, but it's called the Investress. And I was around like 50, 60 women, and this girl Teresa was speaking, and she's like, okay, we're going to talk about money right now. And she goes, any of you women that get uncomfortable when we start to talk about money, raise your hand. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be one of the only people I know. And I like raise my hand all embarrassed. And I like look around, and I would say probably 98% of the women had their hand raised. So you're so spot on.
Yeah. And you know, I think why that lights a fire under me is a lot of the reason, like the reason I watched my grandmother with such intention is my mom was in a situation where she always had to be in a relationship that would financially support us. Well, that came with drugs, abuse, like bad things. And I always was thinking to myself, man, if she just understood money and how to make more money than just her job would pay her, she could have a relationship because she wanted one, not because she had to have one. And I think a lot of times, probably more women than men find themselves in relationships where they feel like they have to stay, even if it's not healthy. And so that always lit a fire under me, because the kids are the ones who have to live through that when the parents make a decision to stay in an unhealthy relationship for finances. Yeah,
absolutely. How are people going to be able to find out about this?
So this is because this was kind of a ministry for me. And I'm like, hey, I just want to get this message out there and see how many people we can bless. When it goes live, it's going to go live on April 29th. Prior to that,
this month,
I know, and it's Financial Awareness Month. We did that on purpose. But so prior to that, if you text GIVE, GIVE, to 59559, what I decided that I was going to do is for every email address that buys a book, I'm going to send a book to like a shelter, to a family that needs to learn about money and change their money, because there's so many people. This is like such a crazy time right now, even in this economy, where people are living off of credit cards, don't even know where to start, completely overwhelmed, and it's, breaking up marriages and causing. And so I'm like, you know what, for everyone that gets bought, I'm going to give one. So I jokingly said, I'm a little scared, but I hope I have to spend a fortune buying my own book to give them away because I get to buy them too. But yeah, if you text give to 59559, that'll put you on a list that when the Amazon link comes, we'll send it out to you and we'll buy one also to give on your behalf.
Are you going to do the Audible?
I am.
You are going to do it. I can't wait. I want to buy that so I can listen to you tell it.
I think it's more powerful when you tell your own, like when you speak it yourself rather than have somebody read it. So I'm excited to do that. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up this podcast asking you if you had to go in business today with a celebrity and or influencer, who would it be? Oh, actually, who would you partner with to launch your book?
A celebrity or influencer that I would partner with to launch my book. Gosh, you know what? I don't know because I don't watch TV and I don't really pay that much attention to that kind of stuff. I will say, for what it's worth, I don't know if he's an influencer or not, but I recently partnered with Ben Kenny, who's a close friend, and I consider him an influencer in the industry, and I'm honored to partner with him. And he actually wrote the foreword in the book, so
that's great.
So that will be kind of fun.
That's a good answer. I know the name, and I feel like, of course, I probably know him right when I look him up. But
he owns Place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love it. We've had so much fun talking, and I'm just so grateful you came in here.
Thank you for having me. It was super fun.
All right, guys, you make sure to go buy her book when it comes out. Text that number. Bye, guys.